I went to the Villages retirement community this past weekend and visited a family member of mine who was doing a lifestyle visit there. And I don't know whether I should be embarrassed about it or happy about it, but I tell you one thing, I came away impressed. So what I want to do is I want to compare the Villages to Marco Island. Now, I know it's not a one-for-one comparison because one is a completely dedicated retirement community, and the other one, Marco Island, is not. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of debate. People call Marco a retirement community, and then there's a lot of young families here and schools, and those people would say, no, it's not a retirement community. However, I'll say this. If you look just at the demographic alone, people would probably say, yes, it is a retirement community, although the numbers are coming down in terms of the average age and, how the population of the school, the attendance, things like this would show that Marco might be coming just a touch younger. Regardless, I think most people in Marco Island, there's a lot of retired people or they're working towards that goal of retirement, or that's the dream, let's say. Now, in the Villages, it is completely 110% dedicated to retired people. There are people there that work, but they're working towards that goal as well. By the way, today I'm going to take you down Collier Boulevard on the shared use path, and I want you to see how deserted it is during the off season. I'm over here by Winn-Dixie, and I'm going to go. I try to avoid as much traffic as possible generally, so I'm going around the backside of Winn-Dixie, right along the canal by the Esplanade. Got to keep your head on a swivel here, as you know. So the differences between Marco Island and the Villages, I came away very impressed by the Villages. They have their own system. They've got it down pat. They know exactly what they're doing. It's definitely a system. I played pickleball. I was there for 2 mornings, Saturday and Sunday. I played pickleball both mornings. Met a lady there at the pickleball court, which they have about 250 of them there. That's one comparison. And she lived in Marco Island and moved from Marco to the Villages. And I said, so Joanne, can you describe to me the differences between the two in your opinion? And she said, well, number one is Marco Island is great if you're a couple and not so much if you're single. Whereas in the Villages, if you're single, there's a lot of activities and opportunities to meet other people, etc. Just a minute here, I've got to pass some people. Hello. So there's an opportunity to meet more single people, and she had recently lost her husband, so she moved to the Villages, loves it there. That was one comparison. Now, people who come to Marco Island say, oh my gosh, this place it's heaven, it's perfect, it's beautiful, and it is all of that. However, I'll tell you this, the Villages is cleaner. I'm passing some stuff there on the side of the sidewalk now. The Villages is a little bit cleaner. There's a little bit less litter. Matter of fact, I think there's a lot less litter because I didn't see anything in the Villages. And on Marco, you'll see that, especially along some of the routes that get heavily used around 7-Elevens and stuff like that. You'll see some things in the morning, and usually we try to pick that stuff up, but you'll find beer bottles, beer cans, wrappers, plastic cups, all those things where people are finishing them and they just discard them for whatever reason. I don't know if they grew up that way or what, but not very nice. However, in the villages, and it makes sense because it's an older demographic there, and that's a generation they don't put up with litter, and therefore they don't do it. Plus, they got a lot of eyeballs on them. So I'm sure there's some there, but I looked around for that, and I noticed that was one distinct difference. Obviously, the climate, we generally have a breeze here on Marco. Right now, it's pretty breezy out here today because of the water being so close in proximity to the water, and the water is a huge thing, the beach. So up there, you've got to go maybe Clearwater, I think, in about an hour and a half to get to the nearest beach. So if you're into beach stuff, water activities, then I would say Marco would be much more attractive to you. But if you didn't care so much about that and you just wanted the nice weather year round, the villages might do it for you. Another thing is golf. They have, I don't know, I think it was almost 60 golf courses there. And a lot of them are free because the mandatory, call it HOA fee of $200 a month gets you all the amenities. They call it an amenity fee. That's what they call it. $199 a month right now. But that gets you all the golf you can play. You can't play every course. You can play all the executive courses, but not the championship courses. I think you got to pay for that. But it gets you access to 250 pickleball courts, and there's plenty of tennis courts available to that, and all the rec centers. And I think there's 150-ish pools there, and you can almost stand in one spot and count, 2 or 3 pools that are within close proximity. That was another thing. Of course, it's a golf cart community, and that's what they really push there. And as a matter of fact, the lifestyle visit, you get a new house, 2 bed, 2 bath, and then they give you a golf cart for the days. And at the time of recording this, it was $100 a night. So you get a full house, 2 bed, 2 bath, a golf cart for the entire time. You get tickets to some events. We went and saw a Bee Gees tribute concert, and it was really nice. All for $100 a night. So even if you just wanted to go there for like vacation, hang out there for a little bit, that'd be one way to accomplish that. They have a lot of rec centers, and of course the village is made up of a bunch of different neighborhoods, call it communities almost. And each community or each neighborhood has its own governing board, so the rules might be different from one to another, but in total, they're all together about 150,000 people. And I think at the time they have enough ground to build about 50,000 more homes. And it's a system. They build the neighborhoods themselves. They have their own realtors. You can sell your house if you own it by yourself, like for sale by owner, or use an outside realtor. But I think, and I may be wrong on this, somehow the villages has to be involved, and they're getting a piece of everything. But they have everything there down to a system. They have a newspaper that goes out daily. Of course, the older demographic likes newspapers, and it's the 3rd largest newspaper in Florida, and they publish it every single day. There's a lot of jobs. If you wanted a job at the activity centers, just a lot of hospitality aspects of the villages takes people to run it, sit behind the desk, run the rec center, all that stuff. It all works. There's a lot of jobs there for people. But back to the comparisons. Could I live at the villages? Yes, I could, absolutely. Even, I'm gonna be 60 here in a few months. I'd probably be one of the, there's 55-year-olds there. You're supposed to be 55 before you live there. But a lot of them are still working, I believe. some retired, and people are very friendly. Everybody we ran into that talked to us, and everybody's willing to talk. They were a walking commercial for the villages. Here I am at San Marco. And Collier. There we go. Okay. Everybody is a walking billboard or commercial for that place. They have consumed the Kool-Aid. They've been waterboarded with the Kool-Aid. And even while I was there, I took a few shots of the Kool-Aid and it was working. It was just really nice. Now, it was their off season as well, just like it is right now in Marco Island. You can see I've only passed a few people during the season. If you come here during the season, or you're a visitor, has property, one of the property owners that comes during the winter time, you know that this path here, I'm right out in front of Residence Beach and the Prince condos. You know that the sidewalk is really busy, and oftentimes during this time of year, I'll ride down here, pass one or two people, and so far I've passed a couple on bikes. So it's a really nice time of the year to be on Marco Island, and it's not that hot. I mean, it's hot, you keep moving or you stay in the shade, and it's very comfortable. If you wanted to sit out in the sun, yeah, you're gonna break a sweat. Anyway, I thought the prices at the villages were less than Marco Island in terms of food. So I looked at the menus, and I thought the entrees and/or, you know, like the breakfast platters, the little combos you get, I thought they were anywhere between $1 and $5 less than they are on Marco Island. And you know, the older demographic, very cost conscious and pays attention to that, and I'm sure that reflects on the pricing at the villages, because a lot of those businesses that are in the community centers, the shopping centers and stuff, are private businesses. You know, they're not ran by the villages. There's Publix there. I didn't go into Publix, so I can't really compare those prices. But I thought on the menu, on any particular item, $1 to $5 difference. And we had three people one night, went out to a golf course, country club, and everybody's a member of the country club per se, because you pay the amenity fee. But the three of us, and we had dessert, and everybody had a nice entree, was $100. It's like $105 with the tip. I think if you had that on Marco Island, it'd be about $50 a person, and you'd be up in the 150 neighborhood. So that's just my take. I'm not a big foodie. I'm not a Epicurean. I don't keep track of it too much, but during season, that's kind of how I feel what the prices would be. And I think the home construction is a little bit different. I think the homes on Marco Island are probably maybe built a little bit more to hurricane standards. I'm sure there's codes and all that stuff that they adhere to. I just don't know if they're as strict up there at the villages as they are if you're living here and on the coast. So there's that. Most of the new houses, you can have stick-built houses, or you can have what's called a prefab house. And I'm not talking like a prefab mobile home. I'm talking a precast walls. So you'll get the concrete walls, and they arrive in sections. They'll already have the windows installed, and they just lean them up. Hey, buddy. They'll already have them, the windows installed, the doors, and they put up the sidewalls, put rafters up there, and boom, get that thing together. When they build out a neighborhood, they don't sell houses as they're done. They wait until a full street is completely built, and then they call it releasing that street. And they will release the street for sale at a certain time on a certain date, and the realtors, the village's realtors, will be logged into the system, and their customers, they'll have them placed on, I'm interested in this house or this house. And I think they get three choices. and then they do it by lottery. So you'll find out whether you get your first, second, or third choice, and that's the demand for the new houses there. My understanding is right now there's a good population of or a good number of houses that are used, that are on the market right now. So you can come away with some decent prices if you don't want something that's new. Also, they don't negotiate on the price. The villages, on the new houses that the villages are building themselves, they don't negotiate on the price. It is what it is. That's just how they do it. You can see I'm down here in front of the Marco Walk, and again, not very many people is there. I think I'm going to take a left here at Winterberry and head down that way. In front of Pinchers, Marco Prime. By the way, in June, the Carvelli Group had 25% off at all of their establishments for Collier County residents, and I thought that was super nice. And we took advantage of that. We had visitors, and we hit about 3 or 4 of their establishments during the month. A couple of them multiple times, just to take advantage of that, and that was really, really generous of them, and high quality food. So love that. I just saw they have some all-you-can-eat specials going on at their restaurants. I saw for the Snook Inn, and they look really good. There's one of them was £1.50 Maine lobster, and I think it was like in the $36 range with sides and all that stuff. And then they have all you can eat crab buckets. And anyway, I don't want to become a commercial. Maybe I'm hungry right now. I'm headed east on Winterberry now, and I was down here at the south end of the island earlier today, and still very calm, very quiet. And this is what I love about Marco. I like the fact that it gets quiet like this. About the time you're done or tired of it being quiet, then all of a sudden people start showing up, and it gets busy for a number of months. And then by the time you're, tired of that and don't want to see that many people, boom, it slows back down. So you sort of get the best of both worlds. That's how I look at it. But back to the villages. That's why I was only there 24 hours, and I'm telling you, I didn't see any of it, and I didn't want to leave. Could have handled a few more days there. I might talk to Maria. Maybe we'll go up there and kind of just check it out, just for fun, for something to do. It's 3.5 hours, 3 hours 45 minutes away from Marco Island. Make a great weekend trip just for something to do in Florida and experience it. Take the pickleball paddles, take the swimsuit, go up there, have some nice meals, check it out. I wanted to say this, in the community centers, you'd walk in and they would have the desk, and of course they furnish all the equipment for everything. They have the bocce balls for the courts. They have outdoor shuffleboard courts. They have all the pickleball paddles. At the pickleball courts, they have buckets of pickleballs, so those are all complimentary. You don't have to bring your own if you don't want. So essentially, all of these activities that they have, you can get the equipment to do them at the community centers. So therefore, you don't have to own all the stuff to do all of the different activities, because just like kind of Marco Island, the houses here don't have a lot of storage. Well, they have even less storage up there. And if you wanted to do everything and do the golf cart lifestyle, which is that's pretty much mandatory. So a lot of e-bikes up there as well. You would need a lot of space for storage. So in order to alleviate that, it's all included. And that's, again, $199 a month gets you all that stuff. But back to the community center, you walk in and they have pool tables. They have video games set up, the video consoles right there, and they have like a lounge area for TV. They had something else that I can't remember what it was, and this is all part of your amenity fees, and you just get to do whatever you want. I've got to cross the Winterberry Bridge here. Okay, here we go. Now, I'll tell you, if my overly large pumpkin head looks even bigger this time, it's because I got a new helmet. So I got this new helmet because I got a new e-bike, and I'm not really ready to show it to you guys yet, but I'll do a video on it here shortly. All I'll say is I'm extremely pleased with it. Cross over here at the crossway. Now I'm back on the shared path, and I am by the softball field right now. You can see that. I'm going to head up through Mackle Park. Now in the parks here, you cannot, e-bikes aren't allowed. So they're not allowed if they're under power. If you pedal them, that's all you do, then you can have them there at the park, and they're getting ready to, thank you. They're getting ready to publish the e-bike ordinance, or biking ordinance, and that's a couple weeks away. They're doing the first reading at the city council at the next meeting. So, but one of the things is just that, clarifying that the parks, no e-bikes are not allowed to be under power. They didn't want to restrict them 100% because they have a lot of kids that use the park, especially during the summer or after school programs, and they didn't want to restrict that. That's according to the conversations that they've had, the public conversations they've had in the city council meetings. But anyway, so I got a new helmet, and it's e-bike rated, whatever. So, I don't do a lot of fast speeds, but in my previous helmet, I found this out from my son, they kind of have a life to them, like 6 or 7 years, and ours were just over 7 years. So Marie and I both got new helmets. There's something else I wanted to say about the villages, and that was the distance. So there's 150,000 people up there, and it doesn't feel like that, at least during the off season. Maybe during season, it's like this. This blows up 3 times or so in population on a Marco. But to get from the north to the south, it's about an hour. And they have an app, and it's kind of like a Waze app or an Apple navigation app, and it will, just a minute, gotta power down here and pedal because I'm on the path here at Marco. So this app gives you directions because you need directions up there. You'll get lost. It gives you directions, and if you go by golf cart, it is about an hour from north to south. We were in the south part. We didn't go all the way north, but we went, pretty far north, but we drove in a car, and it took us 45 minutes to get to dinner, which I thought that was crazy. And most of those, hey ladies, most of those roads up there are 25 to 45 miles an hour. They have a lot of traffic circles up there. They also have bypasses on their traffic circles. If it's not a 4-way in, if it's only a 3-way in or out, they'll have a bypass. But I thought that was good. But everybody's got that system down pat. But you could do that easily. Now this time of year, just like Marco, you do not have to wait to get into a restaurant, although we did have to have reservations. And I think on Sunday morning we had breakfast, and it was about a 10-minute wait was all. But it's my understanding that wait times can get 30 plus minutes during the season up there, and that is I would say easily common on Marco Island during the season as well. So I wasn't embarrassed to be at the villages. People, if you mention the villages, they think about all the rumors that you hear, and then that it's full of old people and walkers and stuff, and we saw plenty of that, but it's just a really nice community, and everybody loved being up there. They say that if you go up there and live in the villages, it'll add 6 to 7 years onto your lifespan. Now, I don't know that I believe that. I'm sure it's because of activity, because it's got over 4,000 clubs there. 250 pickleball courts, 150 plus pools, and there's activities around all of those. And then the squares, and they dance and they have music seven days a week. I mean, it's like Walt Disney. It's like Cocoon. If you know that if you know that movie. I also said it's like Sea Haven, which is the town in The Truman Show. And it is like The Truman Show because everything is perfect up there. Everything looks brand new. They keep everything immaculate, the equipment, the buildings, and they don't just build a building that would just kind of suffice for whatever the usage is. They build a building that is architecturally impressive. Their softball fields there look like minor league baseball fields back from where I came from, easily. And they just take such good care of everything. And although we take good care of everything here on the island, you know, there's a lot of things that just aren't at that same level. Yeah, somebody wants to pass me, don't I? I can sense them. Look, red and they just go. I don't know why. Just haven't been hit by a car yet, but that'll slow them down someday. So I'm currently on the corner of Heathwood, Bald Eagle, and San Marco. And you can see right across the intersection is the new NCH Urgent Care, and behind that is the Watermark. I did a video on the Watermark. If you hadn't seen that, so it's a couple videos back, I think. Awesome place. And I'm going to do a little editing to this video, but I'm not going to do a whole lot. So forgive my stumbles and my mispronunciations and all that stuff. Here we go, my turn here. And a lot of impatient people behind some drivers today. I don't really understand that altogether, because if you're on Marco Island, you're on Marco Island, and there shouldn't be a whole lot of anxiety here on the island, but everybody's having their own day. That's how that works. So those are my thoughts on Marco Island versus the villages. It's not a one-for-one comparison. One is dedicated to be a retirement community. Another one is not, but it's pretty darn close. But could I live at the villages? Yes, I could. There's enough there to do. Could I live at the villages? Yes, I could. There's enough there to do. As a matter of fact, you'd come home every night exhausted if you'd probably overcommit yourself. 4,000 clubs, come on now. And just everybody's living their best life there. But I see the same thing here on Marco Island, and we love the water. We would miss the beaches. We would miss being on an island. But the one thing that I came away probably thinking why I would definitely choose Marco Island over the villages is for the community. And if you're not here during the off season, you may not get the complete sense of community that there actually is here. And that's the people. There's a few people that grew up here, were raised here. There's a community of people that live here year round. And So you get to know people. So you go to the grocery stores, you go to the businesses, and you say hi, and people are familiar with each other. And I really, really love that. And I've got the sense that in the villages, maybe that isn't quite as strong because you get a lot of turnover. And in the businesses, you got people that work there a little bit, and then they're gone. So you don't have like long-term employees or a lot of family-owned businesses. That was just my impression. So everything seems more temporary. So therefore, that sense of community may not be as strong as, I'm sure they have one, but I don't think it's as strong as the one that I really appreciate here in Marco Island. And for me, that's sort of a priority. I want to feel a little bit like I belong somewhere, even though I'm not from there. And that's been me my entire life because I've traveled around a lot. So that's got a lot of high value for the criteria that I would use. But Villages, super nice place. I think we'll go there and visit. I'm hoping my family member ends up living there because I'd like to play some more pickleball there. And those are my thoughts on Marco Island versus the Villages. Hope you found this video interesting and informative, because I'm going to see you in the next one.